Good morning. Hi, I'm Lisa. I know it's probably not morning where you are right now, but it's very morning here. I've been wanting to scrapbook for the last few days and I've just been so busy. So I decided last night I was going to lay my layout here, which is what I've done, and set my alarm for 5 o'clock and get up and scrapbook. That's how desperate I am to be making. It's just been really busy lately. So it's very morning here. And I've got my coffee made, radio on, and this is what I like to do. This is my favourite time to scrapbook. I don't obviously always do it like this, but when I can, I really enjoy it. So thank you for joining me today. I am scrapbooking with my June Cocoa Daisy kit today. I've had an idea for this layout using these Pink Fresh acetate words for a little while now, and I've had them sat on my scrapbooking desk but haven't had a chance to put the thoughts to reality. They are like vellum acetate die cut words. I'd say acetate actually, sorry, not vellum. Quite flimsy, but they're also quite thick as well, and they're just thin acetate, transparent and coloured, and they're really fun. So I've used a few on some layouts, but I thought I'd really make a feature out of them on this page. I wanted it to be a story. I'll tell you about the story in a moment, but I think it's time to get scrapbooking. So I've laid out the words in a block. I've also been wanting to use the Pink Fresh words and die cuts as well. These came in quite a big packet that were in the kit. I really like things like this. It's just really fun to add. So I've been playing around and I've laid it out. I'm going to be using the frames that came in the kit, as you can see. First thing I'm going to do, because I am going to move things, I don't usually plan ahead quite so much like this, but I am actually going to take a photo of how I've laid this out. So I'm doing that now. Then that way, if I forget, I really like the way the words actually frame the frames, and I want to remember that. So I've taken a photograph so then when I do move things I can easily lay it back. So I am going to add a little bit of paint, and I will show you how I do that. Right, I've actually had another idea. I've decided to use a new piece of 12 by 12 white. I'm keeping this one, the original, on here, and I'm going to keep this to one side and start on the new piece. So I've laid the original on the floor, and this will now be my actual layout. So then I can also keep looking down to see what colour the vellum is. Sorry, I keep saying vellum, acetate, and then I can use kind of contrasting colours. So for example, the very first word is sweet, which is pink. I don't want to use a pink paint underneath that because it's not going to stand out. So let's see how that works. Obviously the only thing is I'm not going to be able to measure the size of the paint, the area. So but let's see how that goes. I'm not adding loads. I just really want kind of a wishy-washy effect. Let's see. I don't want to add too much water because obviously this is just normal cardstock at the end of the day, and it goes a little bit bumpy sometimes. Let's add a little bit of yellow. Whoops, that came out a bit fast. And just, that's quite bright, that one, isn't it? Let's wash that down a little bit. And I do want it to run a little bit too. So I'll tip my page up in a moment. Let's have a little bit of pink. I wonder how this is going to look. How exciting. You just never know how things are going to quite turn out. A little bit of pink there. Let's add a little bit more of the pink. Not too much. As you can see, I just used the tiniest amount. I'm using the Kaiser Colour paints. I really like these for scrapbooking. Right, let's leave it at that. I am going to tip my page ever so slightly just to get those colours running a bit, not too much. There we go, and I am going to go and dry this now. The layout is more or less dry now. I did use a kitchen towel. It was quite drippy. I did use a kitchen towel and press over the top, just ever so gently, not pulling it or anything like that, just literally pressing down, and that soaked up a lot of the extra water. It also then didn't take quite so long to dry, which is a plus, because the heat gun does really kind of warp the pages, as you can see, but it would have been a lot worse. So that's a really good tip, to use some kitchen towel just to absorb the water a little bit. So I've got my page here now. I am going to transfer the words over. Let's pop the frame there and then work back around, I think, just to make sure it all fits in before I start sticking them down. I just want to recapture what I had before. It was quite handy. Had it obviously have been another piece, I wouldn't have been able to do it quite so well. Let's pop awesome down there, and like that. Okay, I'm going to start sticking these back down. The acetate words are almost stuck down. It was really handy having my phone in the end with the words or the picture that I'd already taken, so I'm glad I did that. Just got this one to stick down. I'm just using a little bit of double-sided sticky tape, which has been really handy. It's repositional, and to start with, when I started, it was too far down, so I did have to unstick everything and start again. When you have a little bit of excess tape, all you do is rub it and it comes away. Because although you can slightly see it through in places because of the paint and the type of look it is, it's not actually noticeable, as in it doesn't look like, oh gosh, there's sticky tape. It just looks part of the design, so I'm fine with that. The frame is stuck down as well. This is quite diddy, so I'm going to use a little bit of glue on that one, and I'm also going to be sticking my photos down with 3D foam because I want to add a little bit of height to them. I don't want them to be flat on the frame. I want them to sit slightly above, so I've got a couple of little bits of the tape, and I'm going to stick that at an angle like that, and then I'm going to stick this down as well. So I'm just going to use the tiniest amount of PVA. Once this is stuck in place, you can't tear it back up unless obviously you tear the page. I wanted to pop a little bird on there, so let me just make sure. Yep, I've still got the space, and I'm going to use a little bit of tape, foam tape on the back of that photograph as well. So I'm doing the same thing. I might do that one straight actually. There. Okay, and I've got the words from the Pink Fresh kit, enjoy the little things. Let's pop that underneath. And I'm going to be using the tiniest amount of tape. I really like these foam tape packs. They're from the Works. But I really like them because they're so easy to cut. So like now, where I just want a small piece, I just cut to what I want. Let's pop that on the actual photograph. And it's just quite handy. I like having that choice whether I want a larger piece or a smaller piece. And we'll pop that one on there. Cute little birds. Okay, so that's that. Now my next thing I want to do is add some sewing. I am going to add a few stitches. I'm going to use my paper piercer here, and I'm going to do some journaling lines here. I want to tell a story, but I'm also going to add a few stitches just to add a little bit of interest. Oh, I just saw actually. I'll tell you what I will do. Sorry, I'm changing here. What I might do, I've got some of these little hearts from the Pink Fresh pack. I might actually add a few of them in the circles. I've got the pack here. I think that will work really well. Sorry, I got distracted then by pretty things. Let's move these out that I took on the back of my photographs. We don't want those in there. Okay, yeah, I'm going to do that actually. So I'm going to, again, using the tape, I'm just going to cut little bits because that's all we need. Otherwise you end up with them sticking over the edges, which we don't want. So let's have a look. Let's put a pink one. I've got some smaller ones actually, they might work better. What colour's that one? That's green as well. Or is that one too big? I might pop that one there perhaps. Right, let's do the smaller ones. And I'll pop that in there. How does that look? Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this one as well. Where should we put the other one? There? Yeah, I think it needs to be down there. It's a nice balance, isn't it? And I might keep the others and I might use them around once I've done the sewing. So let's pop those there. Okay, so sewing, let's add some holes here. These are going to be where I do my sewing. Let's have a cross stitch there. It just makes it so much easier. Let's add another one here, and then what I'm going to use is contrasting embroidery thread and just sew then over across the words. It just adds a little bit of extra colour, some extra texture, a little bit of interest. It's just a way of embellishing the page without going completely OTT. I don't want a massive embellishments on this page. I want it to be reasonably plain, to be honest with you. Right, I'm going to see how that goes, and this is bothering me. I've had to fold it over a little bit as it was too big and it's not sitting straight. Let's tear a bit of that off. That should be better now. There, I'm going to get my embroidery threads and decide which colours to use. I've selected a few threads here. Let's move my pin cushion out the way, and I am just going to add a few stitches. It's really quick to do. I've got a nice thick embroidery needle here. I'm going to thread the needle and just add, like I say, a few stitches here and there. The paper piercer just makes it so much easier. It really does. I'm holding on the back of the thread so it doesn't go all the way through, and I'll secure that with a bit of tape in a moment. There we go, that's the first one done. Bits of sticky tape, secured that down. I'll trim that, and that is my first stitch done. How easy is that? I'm going to carry on and do the others now in different colours. I've done the little stitches. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare my journaling lines. I'm going to be sewing them. So I'm using a ruler and a pencil, and I am allowing enough space. I want to use the top line for journaling on as well, so I need to allow plenty of space. And whoops, that moved slightly. The good thing obviously about using pencil is that it rubs out, and then I'm going to just pencil along using the lines of the words to almost create a box with the journal lines. Okay, let's do that a little bit, try and space them as evenly as possible. I haven't got a huge story to tell. It's quite surprising sometimes when you start writing how much space you need. So let's stop with that. They're the lines. And then using the paper piercer again, I am just going to pierce the holes like this and then sew them up. Just thought I'd show you the sewing now it's all done. I've done the journaling lines. I've also added a couple of extra stitches in pink to the photographs just to draw kind of the eye into the photographs. I think it needed the extra colour. So that's done, and now I'm ready to start my journaling. I'm going to journal along the lines here. Just wanted to show you, I'm in the middle of journaling at the moment and I've run out of space. My story's going on for a little bit longer than I thought. The great thing about this is that you can just add some more journaling lines. So if you do use this technique, then I recommend you make sure you leave enough space so that you can add extra if you need it. Otherwise it would be a bit of a shame to have to either cut your story short or do your journaling elsewhere. It just wouldn't quite have the same effect. So make sure you leave plenty of space. I've finally finished my journaling. I've ended up doing this in 2 stages. I've ended up getting the kids up for school, sorting lunches out, getting them off to school, and I have a goulash in the crock pot for tea. So it's now 9:30 in the morning. It's been quite a stretched out layout, this one, but as you can see, the journaling is finished. I needed to add an extra line on, so I ended up with a lot more journal lines than I'd planned, but I'm happy. I didn't pre-plan the journaling. I never do. It just kind of flows when I start writing. I know that some people do like to write it out in pencil first, or write it on a scrap piece of paper to copy. I've never done that. It's just kind of happened. I usually end up needing a bit more space, and for example here I had a little bit of empty space. I would sometimes maybe add a heart, an embellishment, or here I just added a single word to fill that space, so it looks like it was all planned like that. So that's that. I'm almost done now. I just thought I'd tell you a bit about the story. Basically, we were in Washington DC and it was Easter weekend. There was huge amounts of construction going on. As you can see, the National Mall there doesn't look quite so pretty. We were reading some signs about the National Mall and what was going on, and my darling Louis, 14 years old, he thought they were building a mall in more or less the president's back garden. So we found that highly amusing. Obviously it's the National Mall, not a mall, which he didn't actually realise. So that's the story. I thought it was a fun one to document, to put in our photograph or scrapbook album, so that's why I've documented it. I really do like these acetate words. I think they're a really nice way to frame the photo. The words are really cool and really go well. I do think that's it. I don't think I wanted to add anything else. I wanted it kept quite plain, and so I think I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you like this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Do get your stories down. That was another thing I wanted to tell you actually. When we go away on any trips, I always keep a journal. So I do write the whole time I'm away. I write little funny quotes that children have said. I document different things that we've done throughout the day because I don't want to forget them, and then I write them up into a proper journal afterwards. So stories like this never get forgotten, and it's really handy to come home then and be able to scrapbook your stories. Some you obviously remember, but many you will end up forgetting, or I certainly would anyway. So document your stories. It's really important. We can remember this silly one now forever. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've enjoyed this. Any questions, please do ask, and I will leave the link for Cocoa Daisy at the bottom. Thank you very much. Bye bye.